Very good afternoon. Welcome to Insight. I'm Natasha Jhabhaskar. The government has given in. Now English marks in the UPSC paper won't be counted, but many protesting students who feel the exam is against Hindi-speaking people believe it should be scrapped completely. The Union Public Services Examination Commission meanwhile said the civil services preliminary exams will be held as scheduled on 24th August, incorporating the changes. There are 2 compulsory papers of 200 marks each in the preliminary examination. These papers are also known as CSAT 1 and CSAT 2. The CSAT 2 paper carries questions on comprehension, interpersonal skills, including communication skills, logical reasoning and analytical ability, decision making and problem solving, general mental ability, basic numeracy, and English language comprehension skills of class 10 level. Is this a knee-jerk reaction from government, a confused decision? We debate in Insight today. And joining me for more on this very esteemed guest, with me, teacher Sriram Srirangam. He's also director of Sriram IAS Academy. Thank you very much, Mr. Rangam, for joining us in this program. Also with me, director of Sihant IAS, Rajneesh Raj. Thank you very much, Mr. Raj, for joining us in this program. With me, former bureaucrat and also former vice chancellor of Maharshi Markandeshwar University, SP Gupta. Thank you very much, Mr. Gupta, for joining us in this program. And also with me, IAS aspirant Ruby Shukla. Thank you very much, Ms. Shukla, for joining us in this program. I'll start with you, Ms. Shukla. What is your problem with CSAT and the fact that now the government has given in and has said that 20 marks the students now will not have to actually go for these 20 marks? Are you satisfied with the government's decision?
No, I do not think we are satisfied with the decision because like now that the government has decided that they'll scrap 9 questions out of the total 80 questions that we have, either the government has not understood the problem or they have tried to give a veiled appearance that, you know, they are trying to solve the problem. The problem was that we want the pattern of CSAT examination as of now, paper 1, that it carries is, the pattern of examination is such that it gives an undue advantage to a certain background of students, at the same time putting at a relatively disadvantaged position a large number of students who go to that exam. So the pattern of examination of paper 1 specifically has been designed such that all the students from the humanities background or from the Hindi medium background, they get pulled up into an undue, you know, disadvantaged position, and whatsoever they try to put their efforts in, they're not able to compete to that merit level marks, because now both these papers are now adding up and adding to the marks of the total merit for qualifying the preliminary examinations.
So is your problem with English as a language being used in the exam or with translation? Because there are translation issues also, the fact that Google Translator is being used for basic words like steel plants or tablet computers, it is using very literal meaning. So is your problem with, are there translation issues, or you have problem with English being used as a language or as a medium for evaluation or examination in IAS?
Now see, the problem is manifold. Translation is definitely a problem because the set of questions that have been actually framed out, the original version is in English, and whatsoever translator you try to convert them into Hindi, the actual content do not gets transformed. So translation is definitely a problem. But along with translation also, the total mix of the questions that is put there in CSAT, it's not only English, because generally it is being said out that, you know, it's just a 10th level maths questions, or it's just English language, you should be knowing the basic language. We don't have problem. Now this particular examination, if I'm an English medium student and I have a fellow Hindi medium student competing with me, obviously if you make the merit on the basis of these English medium students, I would be at an added advantage, no doubt with that. Now the other set of mix of questions that are being put there are set of mathematical questions, now set of logical reasoning questions, other problem solving questions, and the whole junk that comes out of 80 questions all together. In that particular junk, I as an English medium student, I as an engineering background student, and I as a student of, you know, have already crossed the GMAT level. Now I become automatically, I do not study for that paper at all, but then I am able to cross, you know, like out of 80 questions that are put up there, I'm easily able to cross 70, 72 with no preparation at all.
Okay, so you're saying students from the science background, students with the English medium background have an upper hand and when it comes to qualifying CSAT paper 2. Take a look at what the minister had to say yesterday in Parliament.
सरकार ने बड़ी गंभीरता और बड़े धीरज के साथ इस विषय का अध्ययन किया है, बड़ी संवेदनशीलता के साथ सभी भिन्न भिन्न पक्षों को सुनने का प्रयास भी किया है और विद्यार्थियों के व्यापक हित को ध्यान में रखते हुए सरकार का ये मत है कि सिविल सेवा प्रारंभिक परीक्षा प्रश्न पत्र संख्या 2 में अंग्रेजी भाषा के प्रश्न भाग के अंकों को मेरिट अथवा ग्रेडेशन में सम्मिलित करने का कोई औचित्य नहीं है। Government is of the opinion that the Civil Services Preliminary Examination Paper 2, the marks of the question section on English language comprehension skills should not be included for gradation or merit. सरकार का यह भी मत है कि सिविल सेवा परीक्षा 2011 ईस्वी के उम्मीदवारों को 2015 की परीक्षा में बैठने का एक और अवसर दिया जाना चाहिए।
And as we saw, Parliament in fact witnessed several adjournments in the past few days over UPSC CSAT row, whereas the Arvind Verma panel report recommended status quo on civil services exam pattern. Coming back to you, Mr. Rangam, now you have direct access to IS aspirants. What is their core concern? Why are they so unhappy with the latest or with the CSAT pattern which is existing for last 3 years?
See, to begin with, I have a lot of empathy with the people on the streets protesting about English and the domination of the science stream. But having said that, to bring that up now in the pattern of the examination, I feel there is no connect here. Because UPSC from time to time has sat down, discussed with experts and structured a pattern which gets incrementally improvised from time to time, and the pattern as it stands now is about the best that you can have. Yes, it's a fact that the science people have a big advantage. Like
you as a teacher think that the science students do have...
Oh, it's a fact because people get 180 out of 200, 190 out of 200.
Against humanities students.
Yeah, who can never even make a fraction of that with all the effort.
Okay.
And if you think all the JNU people, DU people, those people with humanities have a lot to score in paper 1, they can't score. Paper 1, the glass ceiling is 120. You can't go beyond that. Paper 2, a good engineering student can get 175, 180. But this is something we can't repair at all because you need to establish, you need to check the aptitude of the candidate. Having checked it in the Indian constitution, Indian economy...
But as we understand, any change is rather to improve, to change, to bring in what you call new set of ideas in the exam pattern. The fact that the ALAG committee in 2001 had introduced changes, and then we have seen series of committees, recommendations coming in. UPSC also looks rather very confused because if we see the series of panel recommendations, it is very confusing at this stage.
UPSC is not confused.
Right, no, in terms of the kind of suggestions which were accepted, and then the Arvind Verma panel recommendations, it sent into the government that it cannot change, postpone the date of exam. My question is the fact that you are preparing students for last so many years. Earlier it was believed that humanities students had a greater chance in qualifying civil services exams in comparison to science or engineering background students. Do you see a change now? Do you see a shift now?
The time you are talking about is when there was only St. Stephen's and LSR and Miranda.
Okay.
Now you have a problem. You have 14 to 15 Indian institutes of technology.
Right.
You've got Indian institutes of management. And aspirational levels are higher, and engineers and other science people are bound to have a huge advantage whatever the pattern of the exam, because like it or not, they are the cream of the students. Because the middle class, upper middle class and the classes below, they send their kids to engineering as insurance against uncertainty. And having gone to the IIT at 15, you started studying systematically, and after that you thought of a global career, and then you get into Ahmedabad or Lucknow. Who can stop you? There's no practical way to stop you. Am I making a virtue out of necessity? May not be, because the exam as it is structured now is a brilliant structure. But others, can they catch up? Surely they can catch up. Can you teach CSAT in the coaching centers? Of course there is coaching for the CSAT. Is coaching compulsory? Surely not.
Okay, so CSAT is rather to judge aptitude and attitude, and as Mr. Rangam is saying, this is the best pattern we can have as far as the CSAT's current pattern is concerned. Mr. Raj, your reaction, what do you think of the present CSAT and the fact that the government has come out with this kind of a solution to the whole problem, and it thinks that by reducing by 20 marks, it's not actually an issue for 20 marks, because what Yogendra Yadav says, who is former UPSC member, he said that English bias in CSAT is not limited to 20 marks for English. Bigger problem is with 80 marks of comprehension not addressed by government, and the government decision does not address objections about bias for science in CSAT. It needs complete review. What is your take?
इंग्लिश इन बच्चों के प्रॉब्लम का एक छोटा सा पार्ट। प्रॉब्लम यह है कि एक क्लास है जिसको कि 80 सवाल में 73 सवाल का एक रिलेटिव एडवांटेज है, और वो रिलेटिव एडवांटेज के कारण वो बच्चे पास करते हैं। ये प्रॉब्लम है। प्रॉब्लम उनके इंटेलिजेंट होने से नहीं है। आप इंटेलिजेंट हैं, आप परीक्षा पास करिए, आपका स्वागत है, लेकिन आप इसलिए इंटेलिजेंट सिद्ध हो जाते हैं क्योंकि आपके लिए फेवरेबल सिलेबस है। ये प्रॉब्लम।
अच्छा, आपने सिलेबस ऐसा बना दिया है, सीसैट का कैट की तरह, जीमैट की तरह एक ऐसा फॉर्मेट बना दिया है, लेकिन अगर आपको एप्टीट्यूड चेक करना है, क्योंकि आज जो ज्यादातर ब्यूरोक्रेट्स ये कह रहे हैं कि आज का जो ग्लोबलाइज्ड एनवायरनमेंट है, वहां पे चैलेंजेस बहुत डिफरेंट है। ब्यूरोक्रेट्स को अब मैनेजरियल एबिलिटीज भी होनी चाहिए, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एबिलिटीज भी होनी चाहिए, एप्टीट्यूड उस तरह का भी होना चाहिए। तो क्या दिक्कत है अगर इस तरह का पेपर है? आप अपना बेंचमार्क बढ़ा लें, आप अपनी तैयारी अच्छी कर लें।
मैम, प्रॉब्लम यह है कि मैथमेटिक्स एंड मैथमेटिकल रीजनिंग को एप्टीट्यूड का पर्यायवाची कैसे मान लिया गया, ये समझ में नहीं आता। कॉम्प्रिहेंशन में तेज गति से पढ़ने की गति एप्टीट्यूड कैसे है, ये समझ में नहीं आता।
मिस्टर रंग, वुड लाइक टू रिस्पॉन्ड ऑन दैट?
I agree with the objection in the sense, at 20 when you come to know of the IAS, at 20 if you have to learn all this, it is uphill. But the fact remains, you have to deal with masses of data, the big data, and then you are in charge of a district, you go up to be a finance ministry official. If you can't do this 12th class, 11th class math and analysis and logical reasoning, how far can you go?
Okay. Mr. Gupta, if you can't do basic level, if you solve basic level mathematical questions, if you can't understand basic comprehensions, you don't have 10th level English language skills, how can you think of becoming a district magistrate, or for that matter, be a part of finance ministry where you have to literally help the politicians in answering questions? We already see what really happens in parliament.
Yes, Natasha, I absolutely agree. Because when you become an administrator, you require all type of the skills. When we face Naxalite problems, so many crime against women, you have to face many problems. And this aptitude test, that includes everything. Right. And you will know when this was introduced. It was after experience of about 20 years. Then this major structural change was made in this format. And I feel this is need of the hour. Keeping in view the day-to-day requirement as an administrator, I felt that this was required. But at the same time, you tell me, at this juncture, what government can do? I am of the firm view, this was the best possible decision that government could take in this present circumstance.
So are you saying the hue and cry over CSAT format is unwarranted when Mr. Raj says that what you are doing is you are giving benefit to a set of students, and there is a bias against Hindi speaking or Hindi medium students? They can't actually qualify. This is a qualifying paper, if you see, because then only your real skills will be tested in the mains examination. If you can't qualify prelims and science, in fact CSAT eliminates 70% of them at the entry level itself. These are the figures.
Yeah. Their point is very genuine. I agree with that. But question is timing. Why at this time? Actually, this should have this changes should have been done after great discussions, and should be transparent system. When in 2010 these changes were made, although it was after great thought, but there was no discussion, no transparency, and certainly it give advantage. I agree, my other colleagues give advantage to humanities students,
Okay.
the science students in comparison to science students, and to the English speaking students. And this decision of the government at this juncture, I think it was the best possible. And what more is required, I think even this government can take this decision. The point you raised, the another problem, this is translation.
Right.
Even an expert, he can't understand translation, what is meant. That is rather their concern was that, main concern was the translation. After all, when you have to check aptitude and they don't understand, how they will reply?
Okay, Mr. Raj, if you can just elaborate on the core problems you have with CSAT. The fact that earlier it was said that you have problem with the translation issues, or you have problem with the English questions which are asked in CSAT paper, or aptitude or quantitative questions raised in CSAT. The real problem the protesters have with CSAT.
नंबर 1, एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट पीटी में होता है, ये एक मिसनॉमर है. पीटी से ज्यादा बड़े लेवल का एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट मेंस में होता है, उससे ज्यादा बड़े लेवल का एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट इंटरव्यू में होता है, और वहां पर किसी बच्चे को कोई शिकायत नहीं है. शिकायत इस बात को लेकर है कि पीटी में 80 क्वेश्चन के अंदर जिस माध्यम से एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट होता है, वो माध्यम फेवरेबल है एक क्लास के लिए, जिसे कि हम ब्रिलियंट कह रहे हैं.
अच्छा.
हमें उसके ब्रिलियंट होने पे आपत्ति नहीं है, लेकिन उस ब्रिलियंट के लिए फेवरेबल माध्यम क्यों?
आप लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड नहीं दे रहे हैं.
मैम उसके लिए मैं एक पिरामिड बताता हूं. 80 क्वेश्चन में 73 क्वेश्चन फेवरेबल है उनके लिए जो इंग्लिश मीडियम के हैं, IIT IIM के हैं, और 42 क्वेश्चन फेवरेबल उनके लिए है जो सिर्फ इंग्लिश मीडियम के हैं, और 32 क्वेश्चन उनके लिए फेवरेबल है जो यहां तक कि हिंदी मीडियम के हैं लेकिन इंजीनियरिंग है या SSC या PO की तैयारी करते हैं.
अच्छा.
जो ह्यूमैनिटी के इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस के बच्चे हैं वो बिल्कुल बॉटम पर हैं पिरामिड के, जिनकी संख्या बहुत ज्यादा है, लेकिन उनके अंदर चाहे लाख गुण हो, वो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को भी बिठा देंगे तो एप्टीट्यूड में फेल कर जाएंगे वो, क्योंकि उनके लिए अनफेवरेबल सिलेबस है. उस फेवरेबल सिलेबस के कारण पास करते हैं, न कि इसलिए क्योंकि उनके अंदर मूर्धन्य एप्टीट्यूड है.
लेकिन फिर ऐसा क्यों है कि जब इस फॉर्मेट को लाया गया तो कहा गया कि बहुत सालों बाद ये रिकमेंडेशंस अप्रूव हुए, बहुत तैयारी के साथ नए नए रिकमेंडेशंस आए, क्योंकि जो समय की जरूरत है, हम ग्लोबलाइज्ड वर्ल्ड में रह रहे हैं, जो आपकी दिक्कतें हैं, जो आपकी जरूरतें हैं, वो बहुत अलग है पुराने से. ठीक है. और आज से 3 साल पहले जब ये पुराना वाला फॉर्मेट था तो कहा जाता था रोट लर्निंग को, अगर आपको IAS बनना है तो आपको ये याद होना चाहिए कि मुगल के जमाने में क्या हुआ था, अकबर के जमाने में क्या. तो कहने का मतलब कि जो रोट लर्निंग को आप बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं, CSAT के जरिए ये था कि आप थोड़ा कंटेम्प्रेरी नेसेसिटीज को, कंटेम्प्रेरी वर्ल्ड में जो दिक्कतें हैं उनको आप बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं. तो ये जो फॉर्मेट बदलने से जो एप्रिसिएशन भी मिला बहुत लोगों से, क्या वो गलत है? फिर ये कह दें.
मैम जब 3 साल पहले ये सिलेबस लाया गया था तो लोगों ने विरोध नहीं किया था, क्योंकि डिसीजन मेकिंग का एक फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल होता है कि यदि ऑब्जेक्टिव डिसीजन है तब तो आप एक्सपर्ट के आधार पर एनालाइज कर लीजिए, सब्जेक्टिव मैटर होता है तो फिर उसका फीडबैक देखिए. प्रथम दृष्टया तो यह सिलेबस ही अनफेवरेबल टू द मैक्सिमम नंबर है, लेकिन उसके बाद हम उसके परिणाम की ओर चलकर देखें तो 2011 में कट ऑफ था 191 जनरल कैटेगरी के लिए, बहुत लोग मर गए. 2012 में हो गया 209, और ज्यादा मर गए. 2013 में हो गया 241, लोग बचे ही नहीं. उसका परिणाम क्या निकल कर आता है कि जो हिंदी मीडियम और इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस के लोग 45% पास कर रहे थे पीटी में, उनकी संख्या आज के डेट में लगभग 5 से 6% है. ये
that's a huge downfall, because from 45% number of students from Hindi speaking background, from Hindi medium background, and students from humanities background who were qualifying in civil services, just 5%. So are we can we say that UPSC the way these exams are conducted is very elite in nature, largely meant for elite people and students who come from English backgrounds or have science backgrounds?
English doesn't give you advantage.
Okay.
10th class English, everyone is willing to adjust because the aspiration is so compelling. I want to become an IAS officer. What's learning 10th class English for me? What's learning mental ability? In fact, you had mental ability before 11 also.
Right.
Nobody objected. Therefore, to complain about the science-based questions in paper 2 at this point, I think there could be more to it than merit.
Okay.
Point number 1.
Okay.
Point number 2 is, in case you want to have a meeting point without sounding like appeasing, you could make paper 2 qualifying.
Okay.
Yeah. So that engineers have their way, others have their way, and the battle is in paper 1. And please don't call it rote learning. If you see the questions, 100 of them in paper 1, they are all analytically driven.
Okay.
The multiples are so close, unless your concepts are very clear, you can't push your way.
Okay.
So it's not at all rote learning.
Okay.
Even otherwise, even if you have to remember memory, how do you understand the Constitution of India? Article 14, 21, 29, whatever, you have to remember. Fiscal deficit, current account. Just now I have seen Nirmala Sitharaman giving a long, position statement about India WTO 31 of July. All that we have to understand, learn, remember, reproduce. That's not rote learning at all.
Also, what do you think of the way government has given in with this latest comments, as you heard the minister also? Is this a knee-jerk reaction from government, a panic reaction from government?
This could be anything, appeasement. This could be identity politics or anything. And in case they really feel for the people who have a scare about English, if that is true, I think I'll take the government positively.
Okay. Mr. Shukla, as Mr. Rangam mentioned, that you can also make CSAT 2 paper qualifying. Do that instead of actually scrapping or junking the entire paper, which many feel is actually entirely ridiculous if you do that.
And I think that is a perfect solution that the government and the UPSC could have provided, because nobody have an advantage. I mean, as we are talking about, nobody has, complained with a set of questions, or me learning basic English, or me learning mental ability, or me learning, basic numerical ability. I don't have problem with that. I have problem when that become a part of the merit, when a certain section of the people are able to qualify 73 out of 80, and I, with all my might, all my effort, I'm not able to cross 42. And in this particular examination, when each mark drives your merit, a large number of sections from 45% to 5% just are driven out because they are not able to qualify, because the merit is being made on these marks. I know that, to be an administrative officer, I need to have a mental ability, I need to have basic aptitude. So I need to have that, but from a generalist friend. Now, if you try to make me compete, as an aspirant, you try to make me compete in those mathematical questions and those English version questions with a person who is, a GMAT qualified person or an IIT person, I get at a disadvantaged position. So, as a generalist, I should be having all those qualities in a general terms, but not, the merit should not be decided on that. So, that could be a very, very well solution to that you make that paper qualifying, so that I should be having those basic qualities, I qualify them, but it not drive merit out of it.
And the mains examination, you don't think that science students again will have an upper hand in comparison to the humanities?
No, not in the mains paper, not in the mains paper, because mains paper, they are not, mains paper everybody has. It's subjective, everybody is learning their own subject, everybody is writing their own subject, and there the level of aptitude that we are trying to test, a very high level of aptitude is being tested in the mains examination, because unless otherwise you have that aptitude, you won't be able to qualify mains. I have been, I am an engineering background student, I'm an English medium student, and I'm a GMAT scorer too. And I have been studying with students both from the humanities background of Hindi medium and with the humanities background of English medium. A lot of my friends have been so unfortunate not to cross this examination just because of this CSAT paper. But I do not think that my intelligence in any way is much greater than their intelligence it is. They are equally qualified, they are equally rational, they are equally aptitude qualified, but just because the pattern of the paper is such that they are not able to qualify.
So can we say that the protest is likely to continue, the fact that students are still very unhappy with the latest decision that has come in from the government, and just few days left for preliminary examination, August 24, and UPSC has already said it will continue with the exam?
That's what it is. Now everybody is agreeing to the cause. Even all my panelists are agreeing agreeing to the cause. Everybody agrees to the cause, but now giving a limitation that now it is too late to make this examination. Now you are driving a lot many students who can be future officers of this country. The country can be driven by them. You are driving so many, future officers of your country. You are keeping them out of it just because you're not able to take a decision.
But if I have to look at it the other way, as Mr. Rangam was mentioning, as far as science students, they have an upper hand in qualifying this exam. But why can't students from humanities background build capacities, improve their mental ability and aptitude, aptitude skills and qualify? Means I fail to understand that instead of building capacities, we are asking that lower the level down, bring in the paper down. Because this is for the first time we are witnessing examinees having a problem with an exam, and this is not the way exams are conducted in India, because this is going to set a very wrong precedence. We might even witness similar reactions coming in from other institutions and students having a problem with IIT exams or with AIMS exams or for anything. So aren't you actually setting a very wrong trend?
I don't think we are setting a wrong trend, because number one, when the pattern was changed in 2010, we tried to cope up with it. It was not that we didn't try, but then the level that has been set down, because that's what I'm telling. I with all my might, now you are asking me at this juncture, at the age of 22, 24, when I've already crossed my graduation, I'm a humanities background student, right from, my 10th standard army learning in my subjects, and there's an IIT background student who's right from, from 8th standard, he's, going and studying all those mathematical questions, getting into typical high level of engineering questions, and at this juncture, at the age of like that person from 16 years, 15 years, right, say, he's into a particular background, he's studying those subjects thoroughly. I from that area, I'm studying subjects from a different background. Now at the age of 23, you ask me that now go back to those areas and try to compete in those terms.
But then there are many who would also argue that students from humanities background I don't want to sound cliche, but have better writing skills in comparison to students from science background. So they might even argue that they have a better chance in mains paper than in prelims examination. That's only if you qualify the prelims examination.
Exactly.
Okay.
Plan is that.
Right.
Have a competition, clear-cut competition, level playing
Okay,
field.
so the problem is in fact CSAT, the format of CSAT, and it's not providing level playing fields to humanities student and also against science students. Time now for me to slip into a short break. Next when we come back, we'll discuss more on this. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You are watching Insight. In today's edition, we are discussing the CSAT row over UPSC CSAT and the fact that government has now brought in changes in the 20 marks format of CSAT. Coming back to you, Mr. Gupta, how important is English? As there are many who are saying that why can't you have questions in Hindi, also translation, better translation facilities in the paper? How important is English? Because English proficiency is must for bureaucrats?
No, I don't say it's only very necessary, but at least they have kept this 10 standard level English. When it is a link language or international language, in our country it has become an international language, so we will require it. Secondly, that's why they have been given options of, as per our 8th rule, or every language has been given option to choose their requirement. But English, on the whole, it will remain, because whatever you see, what basic we require is change of our system.
Okay.
We have not changed it. Before independence, the system is still continuing like that. English is prominent everywhere. You just see in judiciary, there is English only. Here at least you have option. Why they can't change? I fail to understand our system. This when you go the same dress in the British period, because the system, their climate was. That was not suitable. This black dress and this tie, they can't change like this. When you want to bring some change, then there will be opposition to that. The system, when this format was changed 3 years back, it was not discussed, as I had told, it was not thoroughly discussed. It would have been discussed, then this problem would not happen. You just see, I agree, Mr. Rangam, because this English, science students and this urban people, they will certainly get the advantage. You can't ignore that.
Okay.
And for that, I will advise, before that, particularly from humanities students, they used to become more than science students. Then there was change and the subjects were included later on.
Okay.
And they got advantage. They get so marks, good marks, that humanities students can't compete. That there is a need, and we are wasting so much money on doctors, IIT students. Why they should come in this?
Okay, Mr. Ranga would like to respond on that. You're already availing subsidized education in institutions like IIT and AIMS, and then you want to come to civil services. No one can stop you from qualifying civil services. But is it okay? Because the first look of it, you want to be an engineer. That was your that actually you went for, and then finally chose to become an IAS official. Is that correct?
I don't think that's correct, because you become an engineer because that's the best thing to be at 70. Having got into the engineering college, you look around and see, yeah, IAS suits me, foreign service suits me. Point number one. Point number two, you see, these are knowledge intensive times. And in these times, you require English language because, Google almighty. That is, English. Whatever comparative administration, English. Scientific discoveries,
major
English.
Analytical articles, all in English.
Minus
also
English,
the
no.
whole internet is English. So, Mr. Raj, English dominance in CSAT, is that the problem, or the fact that English marks is included in the merit list, that's the problem?
No, ma'am.
What is the problem?
प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आप एक गांव में जाते हो और कहते हो कि इस गांव का जो बास्केटबॉल का खिलाड़ी है वो फिट है, तो पूरा का पूरे गांव का पहलवान और फुटबॉल खिलाड़ी और हॉकी खिलाड़ी सब फेल हो जाता है फिटनेस टेस्ट में. ये प्रॉब्लम है. एक ही क्लास है जिसको कि 80 में 73 का एडवांटेज है. बाकी सब लोग का न सिर्फ इसमें फेलियर है बल्कि अपमान है, ये कहते हुए कि तुम्हारे अंदर एप्टीट्यूड नहीं है. और उसका नतीजा क्या निकल रहा है कि यूपीएससी कहती है कि मैं पीटी लेता हूं 2 पेपर के माध्यम से, और उसका सारा रिजल्ट निकल रहा है सिर्फ 1 पेपर के माध्यम से. यूपीएससी के पीटी
जब दोनों के मार्क्स आप ऐड कर लेते हैं, जनरल स्टडीज के और इसके.
एग्जैक्टली. यूपीएससी के पीटी का टोटल स्कीम कोलैप्स कर चुका है. नंबर 2, मेंस का पहले कट ऑफ जाता था लगभग 50% के आसपास. अभी के डेट में पीटी में मूर्धन्य एप्टीट्यूड दिखाने वाले लोगों के सिलेक्शन के बाद मेंस का कट ऑफ जा रहा है 32%. मेंस कोलैप्स कर चुका है. नंबर 3, जो बच्चे पिछले बार इंटरव्यू दे चुके थे हजारों की संख्या में, और जो बच्चे पिछले बार फाइनली सेलेक्ट कर चुके थे वो सैकड़ों की संख्या में, जो कि मेंस में 50% और यहां तक इंटरव्यू में 60% नंबर लाए थे, वो इस सिस्टम के दोष के कारण इस बार पीटी फेल कर गए. यहां पर यह सिद्ध होता है कि ये सिलेक्शन का प्रोसेस न सिर्फ अन्याय कर रहा है बल्कि यूपीएससी के क्वालिटी को गिरा रहा है.
तो आप कह रहे हैं सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस ही पूरा फ्लॉड है, क्योंकि वो जिस तरह से जो चर्निंग हो रही है, जिस तरह के बच्चे निकल कर आ रहे हैं, वो एक तरफा ही हैं जो साइंस के बैकग्राउंड के, जिनका एप्टीट्यूड, इनका मेंटल एबिलिटी. ठीक है.
Okay. My friend is saying in the mains marks cut-off levels are coming down because non-humanities people are making it. They are not able to show themselves to be okay in all these humanities areas. But I think that is inaccurate. The reason why the cut-off level is coming down is UPSC has chosen to mark you in a particular way.
Okay.
Because I can quote you many IIT people pre 2011 who had got runaway scores in general studies. They are engineers. At that time, marking used to be they'll give you more marks. Now they are giving you less marks. Whatever the calculation and strategy of the UPSC, it's not transparent.
Okay.
But it applies to everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
मैम, बात ये नहीं है कि यूपीएससी किस स्कीम के तहत नंबर दे रहे हैं. बात यह है कि एप्टीट्यूड यदि आपके अंदर इतना असाधारण था तो पिछले साल ही, ठीक पिछले साल जिस बच्चे को मेंस में 50 नंबर आया, 50%, इंटरव्यू में 62% नंबर आया, इस बार पीटी क्यों फेल कर गया? इस बार पीटी क्यों फेल कर गया वो? और ऐसे संख्या मेंस में पास कर देने वाले जो पीटी फेल कर गए हजारों में है. और
लेकिन एक टाइमिंग जो चुनी है, जो इतना लेट आप जो प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, फिलहाल अब 24 अगस्त को आपका प्रीलिम्स है, तो वो टाइमिंग अब इससे ज्यादा गवर्नमेंट अभी फिलहाल कर क्या सकती है? आपके एग्जाम्स पोस्टपोन कर सकती हैं. वैसे भी ये एग्जाम शायद मई में होता है, अब इस बार अगस्त में हो रहा है इलेक्शंस की वजह से, तो वैसे ही आप बहुत लेट हैं प्रीलिम्स के लिए.
मैम, ये फर्स्ट ऐसा टीवी शो है जिसमें की चीजों की चर्चा थोड़ी सलीके से हो रही है. अधिकांश टीवी चैनल ने इस पूरे के पूरे प्रोटेस्ट को इंग्लिश विरोधी बता दिया, जबकि सच्चाई यह है कि श्री राम से जानते होंगे इंग्लिश मीडियम के जेएनयू और दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के बहुत ही कॉम्पिटेंट बच्चे जो ह्यूमैनिटी बैकग्राउंड के वो फेल कर रहे हैं। ये पूरा का पूरा प्रोटेस्ट बेसिकली इंग्लिश विरोधी नहीं है, नंबर एक। नंबर दो, ये प्रोटेस्ट बेसिकली किसी के विरुद्ध नहीं है।
नहीं, लेकिन शुरुआत में जो बात निकल के आई थी वो यही निकल के आई थी कि हिंदी मीडियम के बच्चों को दिक्कत है इस पूरे फॉर्मेट से, क्योंकि ये इंग्लिश डोमिनेंट पेपर है। ये इनिशियली यही आर्गुमेंट आपने दिया था। ये कल के रिजल्ट के बाद, कल जो गवर्नमेंट ने बोल दिया, तब ये शायद लग रहा है, ये सबको समझ में आ रही है बात कि सीसैट शायद स्क्रैप नहीं होगा, तो आपने अपना मुद्दा बदल लिया है।
मैम, बेसिकली बात यह है कि जब फिगर्स निकल के आते हैं गवर्नमेंट के माध्यम से, तो फिगर के निकलने का एक माध्यम होता है, और कहा गया कि हिंदी का रिजल्ट खराब हो रहा है।
अच्छा,
लेकिन ये कभी समझने की कोशिश नहीं की गई कि रिजल्ट खराब क्यों हो रहा है। और रिजल्ट खराब इसलिए हो रहा है क्योंकि पीटी में ही हिंदी और इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस के बच्चे नहीं जा पा रहे हैं। वहां यह भी समझना पड़ेगा कि पीटी में तो वो भी नहीं जा पा रहे हैं जो कि इंग्लिश मीडियम के बच्चे हैं, क्योंकि पीटी में पास वो कर रहे हैं, मात्र 2% लोग ऐसे हैं हिंदुस्तान में जिनके लिए हिंदुस्तान का ये सिविल सर्विसेज हो गया है। और हिंदी के बच्चे नहीं, बल्कि इंग्लिश मीडियम के बच्चे भी जो ह्यूमैनिटी के हैं पीटी फेल कर जाते हैं।
Okay. Ruby, you are also preparing for civil services. This, as Mr. Raj was mentioning, this is not about English dominance in CSAT. We're trying to digress from the main issue. The main issue is about the aptitude and the quantitative skills and the skills being tested for, and the fact that science students have an upper hand against the humanities students.
That's correct. And the entire protest, like from the very beginning, it has been, and like as Rajesh Raj rightly pointed out, the issue has been misunderstood. Right from the time the pattern was introduced, students were protesting. We were trying to lodge our protest. But first of all, the government was not very serious about it. UPSC, the authority was, very adamant about it, that we have done it after a lot of efforts. We are not going to do anything about it. You find your way, the protest had been continuing right from those years, but yes, it did not come out to this violence, because at this point of time now we are entirely out of options. What do we do? What do the protesters do? We are actually getting out of the system, and there's no way we are gonna. So at this point of time, I understand it may be late, but it is not that just because 24th August is a paper, we are protesting on 1st of August. We have been protesting, if you remember right from last year also, when outside this Rahul Gandhi's house, we had been protesting. At that time also the protest was on similar lines. The issue was the same, but the issue has been misinterpreted by the media, by the outside authorities, and it has been, quoted.
You said you are a qualified engineer, and you've also cleared GMAT. So that actually that technically gives you an upper hand in civil services exam. So are you protesting for yourself or for your friends?
I'm protesting for my friends, because I know it's a competition. If I have to win a competition, let's everybody give a parallel field. Let everybody compete here. At this point of time, I understand now that I'm preparing. I'm able to, 24th is my paper, but I'm able to come on a TV show because I know I can get an advantage there. I don't prepare for CSAT paper at all. For the past 2 years, I'm qualifying this paper. First year when I qualified my prelims just in the matter of 3 months preparation, because I didn't have to overlook the books for CSAT paper at all, because that was my paper, that was my field, and without any efforts, I was able to score good marks out of it. The same happened last year. So, and I'm pretty sure that it's
Mr. Rangam, no, this is a revelation. When she herself is saying that she can easily qualify CSAT too, because she comes from an engineering background. She's a qualified engineer, and she is not actually fighting or protesting for herself, but for her friends. Isn't that terrible? Because why can't UPSC test my intelligence through a language I've studied in skills, where I'm better, where I'm good in languages and courses? Why is it actually why can't actually create a level playing field for me?
See, there are two arguments. One is level the field, another is take the best. If you have to take the best, what is this level playing field? How much of level?
So are you saying only students from science stream are the best?
I'm not at all saying that.
Okay.
You see, it's not that there is a little bit of morality, ethics, the equity part it requires. Now that the protest is so vocal, and now that students are expressing their scare, I want the meeting point between the two schools of thought at a point where load up a little more of international affairs. In the preliminary, there will be no question on Gaza, nothing about Nepal, nothing about Bhutan, nothing about Latin America, nothing about BRICS, no new development bank. It's completely devoid of that. don't you think that also taps your aptitude? Why not you have 20-25 questions of that? Why only overemphasize this cognitive skills?
Okay.
And people say non-cognitive skills like empathy don't have any echo in this exam at all. Why don't you? There are experts. Why don't they put their minds together? You know, if you want to walk the extra mile to address the concerns of the people, you could, I guess.
Okay. Mr. Raj, is it also time for the government to now look into the issue of making CSAT just a qualifying paper? Will that really solve the problem?
ये बच्चों का डिमांड है मैम। बच्चे ने कभी नहीं कहा कि मुझे सीसैट के कॉन्सेप्ट से प्रॉब्लम है। उन्होंने कहा कि मैं एप्टीट्यूड तो दे सकता हूं, लेकिन एक्सीलेंस में आप कंपीट करने के लिए कहोगे तो दिक्कत है। मैं मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ सकता हूं, सीख सकता हूं, लेकिन इंजीनियर से कंपीट नहीं कर सकता। मैं अंग्रेजी पढ़ सकता हूं, लिख सकता हूं, परफॉर्म कर सकता हूं, लेकिन इंग्लिश मीडियम से कंपीट नहीं कर सकता। अब जब वो पढ़ के सीखने को तैयार है, परफॉर्म करने को तैयार है, तो फिर इससे ज्यादा एप्टीट्यूड की जरूरत भी नहीं है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को। दूसरी बात यह है कि एक बच्चे को जिसने की कभी तमिल नहीं सुना, आप उसे तमिल सिखाने का दावा करते हो, सिखा भी देते हो, लेकिन जो आपका पीटी के अंदर और मेंस के अंदर इंग्लिश क्वालिफाई करने के लिए तैयार है, उसे आप इंग्लिश में कंपीट करने के लिए क्यों बाध्य करते हो? एक बच्चा जो सामान्यतया मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ के कंपीट करने,
तो आप इंग्लिश के मार्क्स मत जोड़िए, उसे मेरिट में मत डालिए, आप इंग्लिश में क्वालिफाई पेपर बना दीजिए।
इंग्लिश विल कंफ्यूज, इंग्लिश विल कंफ्यूज।
अच्छा,
प्रॉब्लम यह है कि नंबर 1 की 32 क्वेश्चन जो मैथ और मैथमेटिकल रीजनिंग पर आधारित होता है, उसमें मैं पढ़ के सीख के परफॉर्म कर सकता हूं, लेकिन इंजीनियर से कंपीट नहीं कर सकता।
नहीं, तो मैथ्स भी तो 10th क्लास के लेवल की आ रही है।
मैम 10th क्लास लेवल का एक अपने आप में मिसनॉमर है। किसका 10th क्लास? किसका 10th क्लास? नंबर 1। नंबर 2, 10th क्लास के ही क्वेश्चन के अगेंस्ट रूबी जैसे स्टूडेंट बिना किसी तैयारी के सिलेक्शन पाएंगे।
नहीं, लेकिन 10th तक तो मैथ्स आपने भी पढ़ी, हमने भी पढ़ी, इन्होंने भी पढ़ी, सबने पढ़ी है।
मैम पहली बात ये जान लीजिए कि 10th अपने आप में एक स्टैंडर्ड है, जो बिहार के गांव के स्कूल का 10th और जीपीएस का 10th, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, फॉर्मूला 10th का होता है, एप्लीकेशन ग्रेजुएशन का होता है।
सुपर 30 भी पटना से ही निकलते हैं।
सुपर 30 एक स्पेशलाइज्ड कोर्स।
नहीं, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है। नहीं, मैं ये बात कह रही हूँ कि जहां तक 10th के मैथ्स की लेवल की बात है, क्योंकि 10th तक के अगर मैथ्स का आता है तो उतना किस तरह से उसको अप्लाई करना है, एप्लीकेशन कैसा होना है, उसकी तैयारी तो आपको करनी पड़ेगी।
प्रॉब्लम सिर्फ इस बात का है कि हम क्वेश्चन बना सकते हैं 32 में, हम भी 18 बना सकते हैं, लेकिन हम 18 क्वेश्चन बनाएंगे 40 मिनट में, और ये बनाएंगे 32 में से 20 मिनट में। और जिस एग्जाम में समय ही पूंजी है, उस एग्जाम में ये न सिर्फ समय का एडवांटेज ले लेती हैं, बल्कि इनके पास में एक्यूरेसी का भी एडवांटेज है। तो प्रॉब्लम इस बात का नहीं है कि मेरे अंदर एप्टीट्यूड नहीं है, प्रॉब्लम इस बात का है कि मेरे अंदर एक्सेलेंस नहीं है, और एप्टीट्यूड के नाम पर एक्सेलेंस का टेस्ट हो रहा है।
तो आप ये चाहते हैं कि इस तरह का पेपर बनाया जाए जहां पे आपको भी उतनी ही जगह मिले जितनी इंजीनियरिंग के स्टूडेंट को मिल रही है। लेकिन ये अगर कैट का एग्जाम देख लें या जीमैट का देख लें, कैट में भी आईआईएम भी बहुत सारे ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो ह्यूमैनिटीज बैकग्राउंड से क्वालिफाई कर रहे हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि ह्यूमैनिटीज के बच्चे कैट क्वालिफाई नहीं करते हैं, आईआईएम अहमदाबाद या आईआईएम कैलकाटा नहीं पढ़ रहे, तो ये कहना आपका गलत होगा। और उसमें भी जो लेवल होता है वो तैयारी करते हैं वैसी, तो ये कहना। लेकिन अभी एक और जो बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है वो है कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स का कैसा रोल है इसमें? कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स का आपको क्या लग रहा है? क्या बहुत माहौल में जो इस तरह का बदलाव आया उसके जिम्मेदार कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स भी हैं?
पहली बात तो मैम ये मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि मैनेजमेंट अपने आप में एक डिफरेंट किस्म का सर्विस है।
हाँ।
उसके लिए डिफरेंट टाइप के एप्टीट्यूड की जरूरत है। हाँ। मुझे उस पर अभी टिप्पणी नहीं कर रहा। सिविल सर्विसेज एक डिफरेंट किस्म का सर्विस है, उसके लिए डिफरेंट टाइप का एप्टीट्यूड चाहिए। उस एप्टीट्यूड में मैथमेटिक्स एंड मैथमेटिकल रीजनिंग का जितना बेसिक चाहिए, उस बेसिक के लिए बच्चे तैयार हैं। उनका यह कहना है कि इस पे क्वालिफाइंग करा दो, इसके ऊपर कॉम्पिटेंस मत लो।
ओके, डोंट इंक्लूड।
दूसरा पॉइंट यह है कि कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट के बारे में यूपीएससी का कहना है कि हम सीसैट ले आएंगे तो ये एक ऐसा हथियार है जिससे कि कोचिंग ध्वस्त हो जाएगा। सच्चाई यह है कि इसके बाद कोचिंग का मशरूमिंग और बढ़ गया है।
अच्छा,
हमें कोचिंग और सीसैट के बीच में रिश्ते को समझना है, तो हम ये जान लें कि इसने कोचिंग को बढ़ाया है, घटाया नहीं है।
कोचिंग को बढ़ाया है, घटाया नहीं है। मिस्टर गुप्ता, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट गवर्नेंस, नाउ गवर्नेंस, द फैक्ट दैट यू ऑल्सो you're a former bureaucrat yourself, governance is different from management. What you require in governance is empathy, moral integrity, and that can't come if you have papers like this.
Yeah, certainly we require all these things. Governance, you have to every type of things. But the question here is you will have to bring this balance between both humanities and science students. You will have to keep this, but the time is not now.
Okay.
It requires, it will have to change later on, and it needs to be certainly done. The science students,
as many experts feel, you have to empower students bottom up. You don't have to bring the level down by, actually putting in these kind of suggestions. But final comments on the program. I'll start with you, Mr. Rangam. You just heard Mr. Raj about coaching institutes and the fact that number of coaching students have actually gone up after introducing CSAT.
Yeah, coaching loves it because additional paper, greater difficulty, so more demand for coaching because of, it's directly proportional to insecurity.
Right.
The more insecure you are, the more you seek the coaching guidance, etc., etc. So whoever invented this theory that behind the protest there is a coaching institute, I think has got it completely wrong.
Okay, okay. And can government really find a long-term solution to this problem? What is it that as someone who is running a coaching institute would like to tell the government?
Before you talk of the long-term solution, the short-term solution I have just now seen in Rajya Sabha, Raja says that this paper has to come in all the 22 official languages of the 8th schedule.
Right.
That's a logistical nightmare, and 24 August
UPSC.
you forget about it.
Okay.
Long-term solution, honestly, I love this exam. It tests your EQ, endurance, intelligence, presentation, personality, values, everything.
Okay.
I really don't know how it can be tampered with.
Okay, so stay with the format, but there has to be a long-term solution. Final comments on the program from you, Mr. Raj. What is it that you'd like to tell the government? What it can do, just 20 days to go for the prelims?
नंबर एक कि ये समझने की कोशिश करें कि मेंस में ज्यादा लेवल का एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट होता है, जिसमें इंटेलिजेंस भी है, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस भी है, इथिकल इंटीग्रिटी भी है. उससे ज्यादा लेवल का इंटरव्यू में होता है. किसी को कोई कंप्लेन नहीं है. ये समझने की कोशिश करें कि पीटी में ही लोग क्यों मर जाते हैं, इसीलिए इसको क्वालिफाइंग कर दें. एप्टीट्यूड का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम यह है कि इसी एप्टीट्यूड के पेपर को आप जारी रखिए, इसको क्वालिफाइंग कर दीजिए, मेरिट लिस्ट बना लीजिए आप जीएस के ऊपर.
ओके.
नंबर 2 कि इस स्थिति में सरकार लाई है लोगों को, सरकार को डेट जरूर बढ़ाना चाहिए. नहीं बढ़ाएगी तो सरकार गलत कर रही है बच्चों के साथ.
अच्छा, एक चीज और मैं जानना चाहूंगी. जिस तरह का प्रोटेस्ट हमने देखा, इज नॉट बिकमिंग बिहेवियर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स हु एक्चुअली सी देमसेल्व्स एज फ्यूचर सिविल सर्वेंट्स. वुड यू एग्री विद दैट?
मैम, एक बात जानने की कोशिश करिए कि ये एक स्पॉन्टेनियस विरोध है, जिसमें कि 99% बच्चे गांधीयन मेथड से विरोध किए हैं, लेकिन 10-20 बच्चे ऐसे भी हैं जिनका की गुस्सा ज्यादा आता है तो वो कुछ अलग तरीके से व्यवहार कर देते हैं. लेकिन दो बातें. नंबर 1 कि 99% प्रोटेस्ट गांधीयन तरीके से हुआ है. नंबर 2 ये स्पॉन्टेनियस है, कोई प्लान नहीं है, कोई प्रोग्राम नहीं है, कोई लीडरशिप नहीं है, कोई स्ट्रक्चर नहीं है. तो ऐसे में तो कुछ घटनाएं घटेंगी ही. और खास तौर पर मिनिस्टर के स्टेटमेंट देने के बाद यूपीएससी के द्वारा एडमिट कार्ड डाउनलोड करने के कारण गुस्सा आया था. इसमें गुस्से का कारण मिनिस्टर का खुद का
तो अभी क्या स्ट्रैटेजी, अभी क्या ये प्रोटेस्ट कंटिन्यू रहेगा? क्योंकि एग्जाम तो पोस्टपोन होगा नहीं, एग्जाम तो
लाखों बच्चे पीटी छोड़ देंगे,
लाखों बच्चे पीटी छोड़ देंगे ताकि अटेम्प्ट नहीं जाए उनका.
और दूसरी बात, नंबर 1 तो अभी विरोध करेंगे. नंबर 2 कि इस पीटी के बाद जब रिजल्ट आएगा ना, तो ह्यूमैनिटी के बच्चों के घरों में रुदाली होगी, और रुदाली होगी तो फिर सरकार के नीचे की जमीन इतनी गर्म हो जाएगी कि सरकार को बात मानना पड़ेगा. नहीं मानेगी बात सरकार तो फिर सरकार
तो प्रोटेस्ट आपका जारी रहेगा. फाइनल कमेंट्स ऑन द प्रोग्राम फ्रॉम यू, मिस्टर गुप्ता. व्हाट इज इट दैट द गवर्नमेंट कैन डू नाउ?
As I told earlier, this is the best government can do at this juncture, but as a long-term solution, they will have to think about it and take a balanced view, both these students, science students and humanities students. And thereafter, you will have to make structure in system, in our education system, so that there may not be any predominance of English or any other language, rural or rural and urban. All these types of things, this can be done after a great discussion, transparency, and all that. And one thing I would like to point out, certainly there is a politics. As you see in the parliament also, all the regional, they ask all the regional language. You have seen in the last time there was a honorable minister. He could not give his question answer in the parliament. He could not speak neither in English nor in Hindi. What is a pity?
Okay, so what you're saying is there should be genuine concern.
Yeah.
Don't politicize the whole issue. Final comments on the program from you, Ruby. What do you think? What is it that the government can now do at this stage? It has already come out with a solution, which is actually a very knee-jerk reaction, but long-term solution. It looks like the protest will continue.
The protest is going to continue. Short-term solution could be, make this paper as qualifying as of now, so that students are able to qualify it, they get basic marks and then we get into it. Long-term solution is, and definitely now that, a lot of students have wasted a lot of their time protesting, that's precious time that they could have been studying, they are on the streets. So they need some extra time for preparation. So a short-term solution could be, extend the PT paper, make the paper qualifying and give them additional time.
But
for
as
these
of now,
students.
it looks that the government will continue with the same format, and 24th August is the day for the preliminary examination. As an aspirant yourself, you'll be writing this exam. But as Mr. Raj mentioned, that there are many who will,
who are not writing the paper. There are so many of my friends who are not writing the paper, who are literally, just stuck up because their entire career is at stake. They have, for years and years they have been preparing for this exam. They have been dreaming for it, and now just because of the change in the syllabus and a particular biasness that have been getting into the syllabus, they are out of their way. They are not able to get into a career. They are neither engineers, they are neither doctors. They do not have an alternate option of career at this point of time, and they are just on the streets. So a lot of my friends, they are not writing the exam. Many of them are not getting into it, and this is, we live in a democratic country. We got to hear the voices of everybody. So
so let's hope that government will now have a relook, but looks like
one last point. The issue of this translation. I think the government can take this and should take this.
But no one is questioning the issue of translation. They've already said that it's time.
ट्रांसलेशन का प्रॉब्लम मेंस और इंटरव्यू में ज्यादा है, विषय तो मेंस में है. यहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम इस बात को लेकर है कि 32 क्वेश्चन जो आता है कॉम्प्रिहेंशन में, उस 32 क्वेश्चन में जीमेट और मैनेजमेंट के आईएम वाले बच्चों का पीछे एक बैकग्राउंड है, इसीलिए उन्हें तेज गति से पढ़ने का अभ्यास है, और ये स्पीड टेस्ट है, कॉम्प्रिहेंशन का टेस्ट नहीं है.
Okay, but let's hope that government, does they review the current CSAT format, but just 20 days to go for preliminary examination. As many experts say that by reviewing the CSAT format, the country should not actually compromise on the quality of bureaucracy. That's again very debatable. Thank you very much, Mr. Rangam, Mr. Raj, Mr. Gupta, and good luck, Ruby, for your preliminary examination. Thank you very much for joining us. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Inside. Thank you very much for watching. Namaskar.